Well, it's that time of the month again. Another one of those times where you just listen to me talk. Well, we got some actually pretty good news actually for this month. Spin Master has released their first quarter earnings for 2021, and for once we have actually some very good news. Bakugan is doing super well, so sit back and relax as we take a look at the earnings report for the first quarter of 2021 that Spin Master has released so far, and we take a look how Bakugan has done so far in the first quarter, and also a little bit of urging to Spin Master from the fandom.
Business. Numbers. Is this working?
So what have we got lined up for this month? Oh yeah, Spin Master's first quarter earnings conference was held May 6th. The company is doing pretty well right now. Stock is pretty high still. Revenues continue to be up, and they are still focusing on the Paw Patrol movie coming out since they seem to be making a big deal out of that. Bakugan so far in 2021 has been rather mild. The pandemic continues to ravage the world and stopping us from meeting up and playing our children's card games. Spin Master had to hold its own preview event in lieu of Toy Fair's cancellation, and products continue to be released at a decent pace. Over here in Winnipeg, where I live, we're actually in another lockdown because of increased positivity rates, and one of the major restrictions was banning visitors from, well, visiting. OEB, unfortunately, will have to be delayed again from restarting as I originally planned, but hey, what can you do, right? But going over how Bakugan has been doing in Spin Master's Q1 earnings conference, Bakugan is actually doing quite well. I know that Target and Walmart recently removed the TCG shelves from their floors due to increased customer and scalper idiocy, but considering Walmart and Target and other retail stores don't actually keep the Bakugan cards in the TCG aisle and instead put them with the Bakugan themselves, I could be wrong, maybe it's different in other places, but from what I've seen that's the case. It doesn't seem to affect the Bakugan franchise in one bit. According to the point of sale metrics, Bakugan globally saw a 5% increase in sales and 1% in the United States. All of this, keep in mind, is compared to last year's first quarter. 1%! Gross product sales in boys increased by 12% up to $68 million. One of the reasons for the increase was because of Bakugan, and Bakugan's higher sales helped Spin Master reach a gross product sale of over $170 million in North America. Bakugan so far is doing exceptionally well, and keep in mind that this is only the first quarter of the year they're reporting. Globally, Bakugan grew 5%, and not to mention was the #1 property in France, the UK, and Italy. Bakugan was also the #1 boys action brand in Germany as well. The US saw an increase of 1% because of the economy reopening with lesser restrictions, but according to Spin Master data, was actually a 68% increase 5 weeks before the conference. Just 1% away from the funny number, man. No doubt that 68% increase was generated by the hype surrounding new products from Bakugan Rising. At the very least, this shows Bakugan is still doing very well, and increase of interest just continues to grow. Mark Segal, the chief financial officer for Spin Master, was quoted as saying, "In boys, gross product sales were up 12%, driven by higher sales of Monster Jam, Bakugan, and Tech Deck. With COVID restrictions easing in the US this year, we have seen a strong uplift in Bakugan." And that is true, because I don't know if you noticed, but when there isn't a pandemic out there and we're allowed to go out to play, you're going to see a strong uplift in Bakugan and interest in the game. But the thing that has gotten the community really riled up is the lack of new TCG products other than Fusion Force. Fusion Force Collector's Editions have made their way to stores, the blind boxes are finding their ways out with a heavy debate on if they fix the ratio surrounding the exclusive hero cards, and yet we're nearly halfway through 2021 and Shields of Vestroia and Secrets of the Bakugan are still not released. Shields of Vestroia and Secrets of the Bakugan continue to be delayed due to the pandemic effect on the fright industry, with no set release date in sight. We only got a small taste of what Shields of Vestroia has in store for us, the starter decks, the Team Havoc hero card leaks, and yet Secrets of the Bakugan and Shields of Vestroia continue to become somewhat of a myth. Despite Spin Master themselves saying that the surge of interest in Bakugan has increased amid the more lax restrictions, they are still holding off on the release of the two sets, presumably until the pandemic is completely over. Yet other games like Digimon, Cardfight Vanguard, and so on released their cards like normal, despite a notable delay in the fright industry. I think it's pretty well known at this point that interest in trading cards have increased in the time of the pandemic to the point where card grading services are overwhelmed. People are still wanting cards, and they will do anything to get them. I can't help but feel like your sales would go even higher if the cards were readily more available and actually released rather than waiting.
You wanna know the quickest way to waste $60?
On 4 Fusion Force packs on Amazon, because you can't get them anywhere else.
You may already know, but don't buy the packs off Amazon.
Already, we're halfway through 2021 and the pandemic period has been a hard time for everyone, yes. But I myself, a loyal customer, I want to be able to buy Shields of Vestroia despite the pandemic times. I still want your cards, and I'm sure a lot of people do as well. Vaccinations are rolling out, and hopefully this whole nightmare period is soon over and we can get back to normal life. I really hate to sound like one of those get vaccinated commercials, but I believe thoroughly on vaccinations. If you are able to, please, I implore everyone to get vaccinated and bring an end to this global pandemic that has affected our ways of life. I mean, I've already booked my appointment to get vaccinated, and you can believe me, I am getting vaccinated. Because I want to be able to get things back to normal, playing our children's card games, rolling our plastic marbles onto metal hexagons, and making monsters pop out to fight. Do your part and get yourself vaccinated. And in finishing this video off, Baku Masters are being sent the Bakugan Funkos to promote their release, and according to Walmart.com, they were going to be released May 25th, though the release date really just depends on where you are, I think. Pre-ordering them on EB Games, they would be released July 5th, so at least the Funkos are getting out. And according to Flamingo, playing a sponsored Bakugan Roblox game, Jesus Christ, Geoforged Dragonoid is coming out August 1st, and the second half of Geogun Rising will be put up on Netflix September 15th. And the Cubos already got out. So, lots of exciting things coming soon for Bakugan. I wonder if there will be more surprises Spin Master will throw at us unexpectedly, hopefully in a good way.
I don't have really much of a closing thing here, except Bakugan is doing super well, and that is great to see. The Funko Pops are getting out, and you know what? They look pretty cool, so I think I might get the Dragonoid and the Skyrus one, maybe, or maybe even the Dan Kouzo one. I do want them, though. They do look pretty cool. But, yeah, it's great to see that Bakugan is doing well, and I can't wait for what the future holds for this franchise. Now give us Shields of Vestroia and Secrets of the Geogun! Take out for rapid fire.